We know that carrying your groceries out to your car seems a bit old school. That saying hello and asking about your day feels like a thing of the past. Being best at fresh, it's not just a fad. Serving high-quality meat at affordable prices? Talk about a throwback. But at Fairway, that's kind of our thing. Because some things never go out of style. Friendly at Fairway. It's more than just a name.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
Country bumpkin of Southwest Iowa. Man.
Williams, have you ever done a podcast before? Because it just started. Here we go.
Doc and I were just talking about Burlington, Muscatine, Page County, Iowa, baby. We are from all corners of the state.
Basically, we have every trashy area of the state covered. And we're damn proud of it as well. This is our Big Grove Big Game special. We are here at Big Grove Brewery in downtown Des Moines and couldn't be more pleased to be here. Chris Hassel, Chris Williams, and the great Scott Dochterman from Legends and Listeners and The Athletic. Scott, it's good to be with you, man. I haven't seen you in like 13 years in person. You look great.
Thanks, man. It's been great. Thanks to Legends and Listeners and Game Day Men's Health. But I'll also say, I think the last time I saw you was probably in the press box for that snow game against Purdue.
Yeah, I came back for ESPN to cover that one. Iowa was unbeaten, and that was 2015 season. They were finishing things up on the home slate to go to 11-0. That's right.
Yep. And so earlier that year, Iowa at Iowa State, and 10 years later, here we are.
Here we are, folks. Aiden Wyatt is here producing. It's our third show of 4 live shows on this day on Iowa.
What a marathon of a day.
had a great morning at Eggs and Jam out in West Des Moines. Murph and Andy had a great show out in Polk City for RVTV. We've got this show, which is going to be very relaxed and very Cy-Hawk game-centric. And then later on tonight at Buffalo Wild Wings, it'll be Doc joining Andrew Downs and Jake Brend from Cyclone Fanatic.
Yeah, we're throwing a Cyclone twist onto the Hawks on Tap, but I figure if it's ever,
it is called Hawks on Tap.
If it's ever appropriate, this would be the week, right?
Well, this is appropriate right now. How about a cheers?
Cheers,
we all have our
everybody.
beers
Put your beers
now.
in the air. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll get you a shot of the crowd here, which is very nice here at Big Grove Brewery.
Hey, I just bought this hat. You
nice
like it?
Big Grove hat. Yeah,
it's a rope
hat. That looks good. It's like a fishing hat.
Yeah, it's like they have a sweet merch shop in there.
I've got the Easy Eddie, which I thought you had to do when you were here at Big Grove. You have what do you have, Williams?
This is the Sherman Hill Champagne.
Okay, we're on Sherman Hill, right?
Yep, I love this.
And Doc,
beer.
that's was that the Iron Man beer?
Yeah, this is the 1939. It's an amber. It's my favorite. I've loved it for years, and especially now because we're getting close into the fall. It tastes like an Oktoberfest. You got to go with it.
And it feels like that out here.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
my wife brought home the pumpkin coffee this week for the first time, and I like.
Is that what I was drinking this morning?
Yeah, it was the. Pumpkin.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, and I felt like it was a little too early, and then all of a sudden now it's like 60 degrees. I'm like, yeah, it feels like the pumpkin spice. It feels like it's time to go.
It is time to go because we are well within 24 hours of game time now. The Cy-Hawk game kicking off 11 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So much fanfare. Not only am I back in town for it, but we have Big Noon and the Big Noon kickoff. I was able to sit next to Brady Quinn and Mark Ingram on the flight. They're very excited about the game. Barstool Sports is here, and we know Dave Portnoy is with Big Noon kickoff, and Josh Pate is here. So it's like...
And Dochterman.
And Scott Dochterman came over from Eastern Iowa for this game. You know it's big. This is the benefit of having this game where it's at. It's not on traditional rivalry week where I think this game would get lost. I think playing this game and playing it in week 2 is key to this national following that Iowa State has had over the last, I would say, 6 years or so. Don't you, Doc?
For sure. I mean, you've had College Game Day here in 19 and in 21. You have Big Noon today. It's really, it's in a convenient spot because you look around college football, the only other game that really carries more prominence is Michigan-Oklahoma, and that's just because of the blue blood brands, because Iowa and Iowa State were better than both teams last year. I think this is, you're right. If it was on rivalry weekend, unless it was a Black Friday game, it would get lost in the shuffle. But it's obviously the most important, biggest game in the state throughout the course of the year. But I think now it has regional importance, it has conference importance, big picture ramifications, and having it now, it really helps emphasize that.
I'll give you a real life example. My second favorite team is South Carolina. They play that game against Clemson every year in November. Yeah, and it's the same weekend as Michigan, Ohio State, and like Florida State when that game was prominent. And like, imagine if that game were taking place tomorrow. That might get the national prominence that this one is getting. So I think that's a pretty good example. And then it's also, there's a couple things. One, I do give credit for Iowa to continue to play the game after all these years. There was a lot of talk of that, right? Like when we're going to play 9 conference games now, and like, it could have been blown up. And you give credit to Iowa State for
I want to go there
improving
right now.
the program.
But before we get into this game, I want to get the audience take. I want to get Doc's take on this. I asked this at Eggs and Jam earlier. We had half and half Cyclone and Iowa fans.
This is a Cyclone crowd, I can tell.
Iowa crowd?
Iowa?
Yeah. There we go. Big Grove is the place for the official Hawkeye game watch every Saturday, by the way, at all of their locations, not just this one in Des Moines, but Iowa City, Solon, and the rest. I would like to know, is there anybody here, and usually this comes from Iowa fans, and don't be ashamed, is there anybody here that would like to see the Cy-Hawk game go away? We got one hand. Yeah. A gentleman who appears to be in his late 60s.
It's like Hayden Fry.
He remembers the Hayden Fry era when Iowa won 15 straight.
God, he's got a Letterman's jacket on over there.
There are a lot of Iowa fans like him that would like to see this game go away soon.
You're talking about your dad?
My dad would as well.
Yeah.
Also in his late 60s. Doc, as you look at it right now in this landscape, will we be playing this game on a yearly basis 10 years from now?
I don't think it'll be a yearly basis. I think there'll probably be some mix-ups. And it's unfortunate, but part of it is the conference layout and the expansion. The Big Ten plays 9, the Big 12 plays 9, SEC's going to 9, ACC will at some point as well. That's going to lend itself to some sort of manipulation of the schedule that teams are going to have. Now, Iowa, Kirk Ferentz is the biggest proponent of this rivalry and always has been. He doesn't want to play another team instead of Iowa State. And it's been proven over the last 8 to 10 years since Matt Campbell has taken reins at Ames that this is a great game. This is a great series. It's competitive. 2 very, very good teams. I mean, over the last, 5 years, there's been 4 combined Division II championships that they've competed, or conference championship appearances. So there's no real letdown.
Really a staggering number if you think about it.
Exactly. And over the last 10 years, I think they've combined for 17 bowl bids. So these are 2 quality programs going head to head. I can think back to 10 years ago, specifically the 2015 season, when a lot of Iowa State fans were chirping at Iowa about strength of schedule. And at that point, it was like, okay, maybe Iowa does need to drop you because you were 2-10 that year with, I think it was 2-10 or 3-9 with Paul Rhodes and had struggled.
That was toward the end of the Rhodes era.
Yeah. And at that point, it's like, okay, there isn't really an advantage for Iowa to play you because if they beat you and you're 2-10, you're going to hurt their strength of schedule. However, since Matt Campbell has gotten there, the rivalry has even become stronger because Iowa State holds its weight for sure. Has won 2 out of the last 3, and when you have national broadcasting companies coming in and doing their pregame show, it shows that this rivalry is worth preserving as much as possible. And I'll say this, that both leagues synced it up when they went to 9 games. They went to the league and said, for instance, the Big Ten chose which division would have, either the West or the East, would have their home games 5 and 4 split because Iowa asked that they wanted to make sure the sync was still there in place. So it does matter to both schools.
Well, we're grateful to be here at Big Grove Brewery, but our entire week is presented by Fairway Meat and Grocery, and it will continue on tomorrow as well. The tailgate lots are going to be full with Fairway Meat. We have our Instant Iowa live from Sweet Caroline's in Ames. Andrew Downs and myself, win or lose, And there's many people in our company hoping for a Hawkeye loss because they think that will be more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's when that show thrives.
Chris Williams.
Watch you guys squirm.
I want to show, Aiden, can you pop up my phone cam? I'd just like to show the audience, the crowd here at
Here we go. You guys are live right now.
Big Grove. Look at this. Great turnout here. Great turnout on a great day. Got the fire pit going. We are under the overhang here. It's just perfect weather for what we hope is a great game.
Hey, get a shot of Becky in the back.
Becky back there. Becky, thank you for the drinks.
Yeah, there you go.
The pride of Corning. Becky, thank you so much. I want to get now to this game and get into the nitty-gritty of this thing and ask, I have some big picture questions because I was listening to Legends and Listeners, and Doc said that this game, he believes, is unequivocally, for this season, bigger for Iowa than it is for Iowa State. I want to get your take on that, but first, Doc, tell us why you believe that to be the case.
When you look at the path to the college football playoff, and let's face it, that is the most important thing for any team these days, is to get to the college football playoff. Iowa State has a quality team that's capable of winning the Big 12. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that. However, what happens with Iowa is going to have no implication on how they do in the conference. Iowa has a much more difficult path to win the Big Ten. It's difficult anyway, and it's gotten much more difficult when you add Oregon and Washington, and then you look at their schedule, who they play. To even get to the championship game would require one of their great seasons in Iowa history. So what Iowa has to do is put up enough points in the games they win, meaning they go 7-2 in Big Ten play. They cannot lose Iowa State.
Yeah.
If they're 9-3, they're not going to the playoff. If they're 10-2, they might. And if you get a quality win over an Iowa State, which I think will get all the way down to the last couple weekends of the year for sure, competing for the Big 12 championship, then that is a quality victory for Iowa. Now, if Iowa State happens to go 11-2 or 12-1, then yes, this is much more important. But the way that the playoff is structured with the 12 teams, the Big 12 is going to struggle to get more than one, the champion, this year. And in the future, it's going to struggle to get more than two, just by the sheer volume and the way that the selection committee goes. So that makes it much more important for Iowa to win to achieve a playoff spot than Iowa State, which really has a clearer path because they've already taken out one of the best teams in the Big 12. And they play the whole lot, but they're going to have a chance to advance and win the Big 12 championship.
I actually completely agree with him. Like, you said it on our show leading up to the South Dakota game where you're like, it really doesn't matter. Like, it does. You want to win.
To get to the playoff, like, this game is more important for Iowa, there's no doubt.
Absolutely.
Because I think what it comes down to for Iowa State is they have to win the Big 12 period.
I also think there's a huge but here. Because if Matt Campbell can knock off this can't beat Iowa at home thing,
yeah,
it kind of takes the lid off of some things that people have said. There's not a lot more that Matt, other than win the Big 12 championship, there's not a lot more that he can do that people said he couldn't do. When he got the job, I mean, I was dead wrong. I never thought I'd see Iowa State playing a Big 12 championship game. I really didn't.
And they've done it twice.
Yeah. And, I would say against Oklahoma, I'd love to have that matchup again. Yeah. I think they could have beaten them. Last year, they were outmatched. Arizona State was the best team.
Yeah.
But, Matt hasn't ever beaten Iowa at home. If you could do that, like, just think of the momentum, assuming they would go on the road, and that's a big assumption next week. That's a weird road game, right? Whatever happens.
You don't just walk into Jonesboro, Arkansas, and expect to defeat the Arkansas
it's a
State
weird
Red
game.
Wolves.
It sucks, like, that you have to play that, but you do. But imagine if they could be, if they could get this win on Saturday, with all this national attention. You're definitely in the top 15. Mm-hmm. You go in and win, and then you go into your bye week with the rest of your Big 12. You're 4-0, looking at like potentially being close to the top 10. And then you're looking at like Matt's program, I think, in a totally different way, where it's just like in this Big 12 thing, like we talked about on our show this morning. If you didn't catch it, Doc, I mean, we look at like Utah. Mm-hmm. Let's see what Kansas does.
Yeah.
This weekend,
Baylor could bounce back against SMU.
I mean, I think the Big 12's got maybe 6 teams that are capable of winning, and we didn't really know at the beginning of the year where that would be. But, maybe if you're Iowa State and you're at a point where you are a one-loss team, you're 11-1, and maybe you don't. Maybe you could backdoor your way into it. Like, to me, realistically to me, as a long-time Iowa State guy, I'm thinking about the Big 12. The playoff is kind of like that would be amazing. Yeah. Kind of like last year, right? Like, I wasn't going into the Kansas State game. What does Iowa State have to do to get into the playoff? Get to the Big 12 championship, and because I just don't see the Big 12 as a 2-bid league.
I don't either.
I see it as a 1-bid league, and in really good years, maybe you're going to have an opportunity to get 2. What can you do to put yourself into that position and then win a Big 12 championship? So if you're just looking at it from that standpoint, Doc is 100% correct. And, the University of Iowa, this is a really big boy schedule that they have, not only what they have in the Big 10, but when you sign up for this thing, you don't really think you're going to get Iowa State in the top 15 playing in Ames, right? This is a difficult schedule Iowa has. So I completely agree with this take.
Doc, before the season, you predicted Iowa to go 10-2. And 10-2 to me says playoff. I feel like if they get to that number of 10-2, no matter where the wins come, there's at least going to be 2 really good ones, and that's going to be enough to get them into the playoff. After what you saw week 1, specifically from Mark Gronowski, are you sitting here on this day before the Cy-Hawk game thinking that record is going to be different than you predicted it to be?
Well, it all comes down to how he plays tomorrow. I gave him a little bit of a mulligan because he did finish the game, 6 of 7. Didn't look good, didn't look comfortable, looked very anxious out there. I can assure you that I'm sitting there in the press box going, are we really going to see this again? We've seen this over and over.
Every
and over.
single
What
Iowa
did you
fan
think
out
on
there
that,
was thinking the same
on the
thing.
overthrow and the underthrow? What were you thinking?
I can't even say what I'm going to, unless John says it's okay to say what I really think. But
You can say whatever you want, brother.
I think Ronnie Harmon throwing the Rose Bowl was less egregious than those 2 back-to-back throws.
The short hop when Sam Phillips broke in the end zone, because I have my binoculars and I'm watching the coverage. I'm not watching the quarterback, and I'm like, there he is. And then all of a sudden it's like it hits at the goal line. I'm like, I played quarterback 30-some years ago, and I could still probably get it farther than that. And then that little pooch pass that he tried to do and overthrew the running back, I'm thinking, this is all in his head. And then after the game, I'm going, I can't believe Iowa's back here again. I mean, they spent $2 million on this guy.
Right.
But then I'm like, all right, let me look back. He's proven why he's a good player. He's done it before. He's played really well, winning football, tough football. For a great program. He's got 50 career victories. He's an FCS Player of the Year. This is an aberration. But if it happens again at Iowa State, then you've got to do what's best for your program, and that's not play him. And give yourself a chance to win. And if he completes only half of his passes, then that record goes down immensely to 7-5 or 6-6, just right off the bat.
It's crazy how quickly things can change.
Yeah.
Where was the disconnect this year? It was easy to see. McNamara just wasn't that good. He didn't have much of an arm.
Is he starting at Eastern Kentucky?
He played, yeah.
Okay. I knew he was in a battle there.
East Tennessee State.
Okay.
Get it right.
Sorry.
What?
I had the East part right.
Why did we think they paid him $2 million?
Yeah. Miami.
How does that happen? How does that happen in week 1? A guy, he had won 49 games going into that start. He had played in that stadium before. He had won national championships before.
Well, I checked with a couple of people in the program to say, is his shoulder okay? I mean, because you just genuinely wonder by the way he was throwing. And they're like, yes. His problem was he just got really anxious, and he got overhyped, and then he started pressing. And when it's almost like he's trying to throw like darts. It's you think about a pitcher. Just throw strikes. Don't try to aim the ball. And he got it in his own head, and then eventually he worked himself out of it. He wasn't good necessarily for the second and third quarters, but he was better. And then they just decided, we're just going to run him and let him kind of work his way out that way. So there were a couple other little things. I'm not going to give Albany any credit because they don't deserve it, but I will say that they changed their coverages. They were more of a zero coverage man team, and then they went cover 2. And when you're going cover 2, it's like run the ball on them, which Iowa did at will. And so they kind of adjusted it that way. But I wouldn't say that they completely missed. I want to give them the mulligan. But tomorrow is the litmus test. If he cannot perform, this is the reason why they paid him $2 million.
Yeah,
exactly.
Go beat Iowa State. Go beat Indiana.
So I want to pose a question to you, and it was an argument that Williams and I had this morning at Eggs and Jam, because we kind of see it differently, I think, as to what Iowa needs to do to win this game. Williams believes that they need to play the prototypical Kirk Ferentz game. You just pound it and pound it and pound it and pound it and pound it. And I think that if they're going to win this game, because of how good Rocco Becht is, because I think they're going to put up points, I think that Gronowski is going to have to be able to, at least at some point, go down the field. Because we saw what they did in the second half last year against Iowa in that run game. They basically shut things down because they knew Iowa wasn't going to throw it anymore, and that's how they came back. What do you think Iowa has to do offensively to win this game?
They're going to have to establish the run at some point, because that is their best punch. They have one of the best offensive lines. I could say one of the 3 best offensive lines in the Big Ten with Oregon and Penn State. They have 3 legit pros up front. They are very physical and dominant. I think they'll be fine there, but you have to have a counter. You can't just run unless it's bad weather conditions, and that's not going to be the case. It's going to be beautiful. So what you need to do is figure out, I'm interested in the Iowa State angle, because they play a 3-3-5. That's not going to work against Iowa. I mean, we're kind of putting Iowa State on some sort of pedestal, but you can't run a 3-3-5 against Iowa and be successful. They will shove it in your ear.
That's my
nose,
fear.
Whatever. So they're going to come down at probably more like a 4-2-5. They'll have somebody on the line of scrimmage. They'll move one of their backers along the line of scrimmage, and they're still going to struggle against Iowa's run from time to time. Now, the one thing they do with that kind of umbrella secondary, playing the 5 and the middle guy to go along with it, is that negates some of the seam passes that you want to have in Iowa. So you're going to have to figure out, okay, now how do we adjust to that umbrella coverage? Well, that's usually slants, or it's going to be motion with play action passes. That's why you got to establish the run, because then they can play fake, drag the tight end across, or hit some deep curls. And that's how you're going to have to do it. And eventually, at some point, your safety is going to bite on that, and that's when you can attack. You just have to be prepared for when that time comes, and the only way to do that is to be able to run the ball effectively.
How close do you think Mark Gronowski's a number of rush attempts to his pass attempts will be in this game?
I think he'll run between 8 and 10 times, and I think he'll throw between 20 and 23 times.
So that's what I think what Iowa needs to do to win the game. I think that's what, and 5 of those throws need to be down the field.
I actually think, Chris, that you and me are closer on this game than it comes across, because I just don't think, Doc, they're going to be able to do what you want them to do without softening up that.
Oh, no, I'm not saying to
right.
Start the first play of the game, throw it down the field.
Go bombs down the field.
Absolutely. Early on, you feel things out.
Because they will. I mean, I don't know if in 10 years John Haycock has ever been aggressive on an opening drive. It doesn't matter the opponent.
And Lester will know that.
Yeah.
And maybe they will be able to run it down their throats the first
opening drive, Iowa may go on an 8-minute.
But it's a 4-quarter game. And
yeah.
we saw it last year. And we saw the adjustments that Iowa State made, and those adjustments won the game. Rocco Becht won the game.
I'm just saying, if Iowa...
Rocco Becht is on the other side.
I love their offensive line. I think it's by far the best Iowa State will play all year.
I agree.
I don't think it's close.
Yeah.
I don't think that anyone on their Big 12 schedule can compete with that. I thought Kansas State may be able to. Yeah. Didn't look like it with what we saw in Ireland.
It's true.
If they go out there in the first couple of possessions, because I promise you Haycock will be passive. Yeah. And then he always gets more aggressive. It's what they do. And if that 3 to 4 man, they're going to creep up Bacon. Yeah. That's what they'll do. He'll be the 4th lineman tomorrow. And if Iowa struggles to run against that, it's going to be a really long day
if
for the
Iowa
Hawkeyes.
struggles to run, it's probably over.
They're dead.
We spoke earlier, Doc, and I heard you and Chad talking about this, and I spoke with Brady Quinn about this, and he agreed that the number of avenues for Iowa State to win the game are greater than the avenues that Iowa has to win this game. I think Iowa State has so many more ways that they can actually get to that outcome than Iowa. Would you agree with that?
That's pretty deep, Chris. But yeah, I would agree. I would agree that Iowa State has wider variance and I think it all starts at quarterback. I mean, Rocco Beck is a proven performer. He's 7-1 since Snowmageddon in one-score games.
Mm-hmm.
That means something because there's a lot of confidence. I mean, we're talking a couple years ago, it was the other way around.
Exactly.
Where it was like Iowa State was waiting to blow it in some ways. Like, oh, we know it's coming. When's it going to happen? And then it does. It's the other way around now where they figure, we're comfortable here. It was kind of like that with Brock, but I don't even think it was quite like this. That where they're almost the expectation is, okay, they can make it happen. I think from Iowa's perspective and battling Iowa State's offense is a challenge because the script is going to be really good. Mauser's going to have a really good game plan. Iowa traditionally struggles in the opening script because they are fairly generic. They're either going to go 4-2-5 or 4-3. They'll alter it up. If Iowa State goes 12 personnel with 2 tight ends, then it kind of depends for Iowa because it's not a traditional 12 formation because you've got 2 of the, certainly Bramer may be the best tight end in the country. He's kind of different than most of them we've ever seen.
He's just like a giant wide receiver out there who
Travis
can block.
Kelce.
Yeah.
He's Travis Kelce, and I've seen a lot of good tight ends at Iowa.
Where do you project him?
At least second round.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
that type of guy.
He might be higher than that even. He might
And
be first round.
that's the side, when Iowa State has the ball, that's where I worry the most. Like everything that Gronowski did last week, yeah, that's worrisome. But Rocco Becht it scares me. He's going to be the best player on the field. He's a winner, knows how to do it. He's beaten Iowa before. Mm-hmm. I think that Iowa has a lot of question marks on defense, linebacker position, cornerback. If I'm an Iowa State fan, I do not want to see them try to do what they did against Kansas State and pound the ball, hoping that in the fourth quarter it all opens up because I don't think it ever will. I think you got to put the ball in Rocco Beck's hands and let him sling it. I mean, I'm not saying throw it 40 times, but that guy is the best player on the field and your best chance to win the game, and you got incredible weapons at tight end. And you can create some mismatches with your multiple formations. That's what I'm most afraid of as an Iowa fan.
I'm really curious in that matchup from an Iowa State perspective because when I look at it on paper and after 2 weeks, the biggest hole I see for Iowa State to have success here is the tight ends against the Iowa linebackers, Scott. Mm-hmm. But then I did a little I dug a little bit deeper with this Iowa team. These linebackers, it's not like they're freshmen or transfers coming. I mean,
it's just an unknown.
Yeah, they've just been born and raised in Phil Parker's defense. So I think that group, and I don't know how it ends.
But it's not Jay Higgins. It's not Jay Higgins back there.
It's not, but I think they're going to take a huge step from week 1 to week 2. What that ends up with, and I think Iowa State, tight end-wise, will have them outmatched. I really do.
I agree.
But I don't. I made the mistake 3 weeks ago before the season where I looked at Iowa's linebackers and I ignorantly said, oh, they're 3 new guys. That's not really the case, though. So to me, that is a really fascinating part of this matchup because Iowa State has run 14 personnel out there. I mean, they're nuts.
Which, explain that to the layman.
That means that there's 4 tight ends on the field at one time. Okay?
I love it.
Yeah, they're sick. Yeah. This Taylor Mauser is a different cat. Mm-hmm. But technically Bramer's a tight end, but he's really just a huge receiver who can block. Right? And Burkle, I think Gabe Burkle's probably kind of the same way. You have 2 elite pass-catching tight ends who are also pretty good blockers. But I don't that tight end linebacker thing, Doc, where do you fall on that? Because on paper, it's an Iowa State advantage. I think it'll be an Iowa State advantage tomorrow. But I'm not convinced it's as big of an advantage as I think it is sitting here right now.
Well, Iowa isn't going to play a lot of man with the tight ends. They're in zone almost exclusively. They're going to play some matchup, especially on the goal line they will, but this isn't Jackson Rexroth against Ben Bramer, one-on-one coverage down the field.
Correct,
I mean,
yeah.
Iowa plays 5 defensive backs, and you're going to see some really athletic safeties. Cohen Entringer is one of the best safeties in the country, in my eyes. Zach Lutmer, I kind of compared him to Tyler Sash. I mean, this is a legitimately good secondary. Deshaun Lee has had his struggles. He's maybe the weak link at corner, but, he's also had some nice moments, and he's still a redshirt junior. I think that the linebackers are inexperienced in some ways, but they are in year 5 in the program. It's time for them to put on their big boy pants. They know that they're going to do it, but Iowa also went dime in a lot of passing situations, and they'll do the same thing. I mean, that's kind of growth for their defense and how they do things. I mean, 6 defensive backs on the field, 4 linemen, and they're their most athletic linebacker. And Carson Shire would have started a couple of years ago if you didn't have Nick Jackson in that spot. So this is, I don't see it as a direct negative necessarily for Iowa in this matchup. I mean, my concern with them is, and again, kind of getting back to the opening script, there's going to be probably a lot of movement, and then their lateral ability at the second level to match up the receivers drag across the middle, or when we're talking about specifically tight ends, and match up and not get beat for a 14-yard drag route. That's going to be something that they're going to have to be cognizant of. And Iowa State will take advantage of that. I just think that this is going to last 4 quarters. And it's going to be a situation where if Iowa can get to the end of the first quarter and it's 3-0 and they're behind, they're fine.
Yeah, it's a good spot for them.
Yeah. If it's 14-0, we obviously know that they're not fine. And you compare this just even to last year's game. Iowa State had killer injuries at linebacker. I mean, they were playing guys who hadn't played before, and they got gouged in the running game, no question about it. But how they defended Kate McNamara, who was 5 of 18 over the last 3 quarters, really won the game for them. And they forced him to do. He couldn't do anything. Well, couldn't do anything anyway, but he couldn't do anything in that game in the last 3 quarters.
Which comes down to your point.
Which one?
With Gronowski being able to make the pass. McNamara couldn't in the last 3 quarters of that game.
And in fact, I think he made the single most disheartening play for an Iowa fan in that game. The single most impactful play, and it was the interception that he threw when Iowa was in complete control and had the ball at Iowa State's 35-yard line, and for some reason, tried to squeeze one in on the far sideline, and that turned the entire game around. And I'm sure that's on Kirk Ferentz's mind. Scott, earlier today, we played the soundbite from Mark Gronowski this week, which I found comical, where he said that they were going to go out there, and he was kind of in a screw it mindset. I'm just going to sling it. And I find it comical because I don't buy that Kirk Ferentz would ever allow that to happen. Would you agree?
Tim Lester has a different vibe than his predecessor did, and he has more autonomy than his predecessor had. Now, the one difference is where Kirk will step into it now is it's 3rd and 1, or it may be, hey, we need to run a little bit more here, or it's 4th and 1, let's run, pass, punt, whatever. But Tim has a lot more autonomy. Now, he committed, in my opinion, the worst play call of last year's game when they were at 1st and goal at the 1. And they called a play where they had kind of a wham block with the tight end, Johnny Pascuzzi, who was a walk-on, tried to block Dominic Orange.
That's the orange play.
Blown up, and it was a 3-yard loss. And Iowa ended up kicking a field goal, and they're instead of leading 17-0, it's 13-0, which completely changed the game. Tim Lester wants to be aggressive.
Do you think it was last week when Gronowski was really struggling early, and the first 3 drives did not go well, and they then ran it 12 of the next 13 plays? Did Tim Lester decide that, do you think? Or did Kirk Ferentz go to Tim Lester and say, we're going to keep the ball on the ground?
It's a feel. In this situation, Tim wanted to, but he also knew his quarterback was struggling, and the best way to do that is let's just get him some confidence. Let's get the team some confidence. We've got this great offensive line. Let's let him roll. And that was kind of the way, I was told that they decided to go with that game plan was let's lean on what's good. Let's make it happen. And, then they won decisively, and they were going to in that manner. You might as well not just force your quarterback who's struggling. I mean, it's kind of like, it's worse than this, but it's kind of like a pitcher who just doesn't have his stuff.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to get through it, and maybe it's like, hey, just throw it so that they hit ground balls. Don't worry about strikeouts. And in his case, but he was, 6 of 7 until he had cramps, and maybe the cramps were worse throughout the game, and he was trying to combat that. I'm not willing at all to overlook what happened. I mean, I have eyes. I saw it, but at the same time, knowing his history, I'm also willing to give him kind of the benefit of the doubt.
I wanted to ask you a follow-up on that, because you've mentioned that several times this week. You keep saying, I've seen it, I've seen it, I've seen it. The previous quarterbacks, Cade McNamara, Deacon Hill, Spencer Petras, there was no prior tape on those guys where you did see it. Like with Cade, he led Michigan to a playoff, but he led him by turning around and handing the ball off to his running back.
He was the stopgap for the rest of that roster.
Is that the difference in your mind between what we saw from Gronowski week 1 compared to all the other quarterback issues Iowa has had, in that Gronowski has actually been a great quarterback somewhere else?
No question. I mean, you look at Cade McNamara when he came to Iowa. I was like, okay, this is the great quarterback that Iowa needs to take them to the next level, because
I was ecstatic.
It looked like it was the right move.
We had an emergency pod, I think.
I'm sure you guys did.
One of many.
Just like with that wide receiver from Ohio State
Caleb
that never
Brown.
played.
Oh, yeah.
Caught one pass.
Yeah. Well, he could have caught another one if he would have ran the right route against Minnesota last year. But when you're talking about Cade, though, the question for me at the time was, okay, did he lead Michigan to the playoff in the Big Ten Championship, or did they lead him? And it was no question. I even watched the Big Ten Championship game again, and it was like, okay. He threw, 4 interceptions, or at least 2 in the first half for Iowa, and to Iowa. And with Gronowski, he does have a history. His completion percentage usually is pretty good, and he's run the ball. 93 touchdown passes, 20 rushing, almost 2,000 rushing yards, almost 10,000 passing yards. There is a history there. He's not as fluid as a passer as you'd expect. A lot of people compared him like Tim Tebow.
I could see that.
Yeah, did we get that wrong? I guess as a regular, I'm thinking of like my dad. He didn't know anything about Mark Gronowski before this.
Yeah.
All he heard was that Iowa paid him $2 million or thereabouts to come to Iowa City and play quarterback and be the quarterback savior. He was the FCS Heisman winner, what they call it, the Walter Payton Award, a champion, a winner, and you just you envision this quarterback, because these kind of fans, like my dad, they're not going and watching film of this guy. Did we have the wrong idea? Do we need to adjust what makes him a great quarterback? Is it going to be way more of the rushing ability and the added number, or is he actually going to be able to throw the ball down the field?
I mean, I usually take kind of the big picture approach. I'm not real good sometimes for radio because I don't give the hot takes very much. I do think that I want to see it. Maybe it was first game jitters. This is the first time. I mean, this kid, he's still a young man, comes and plays in front of 70,000 people, and he's amped. He's ready to go, and then all of a sudden, I'm.
But Tim, why are we to believe that tomorrow, when he goes out there in front of 60,000 people in the biggest rivalry, in my opinion, that Iowa has, why are we to believe that he's not going to have the same jitters?
You can only take a leap of faith. I mean, he's thrown 93 touchdowns before he came to Iowa. He's won 2 national championships. So he's done it in big games. And I'll say this, the South Dakota State, North Dakota State is
a big deal.
Is a massive rivalry, and
that dome.
And that last year they played in the semifinals, which was kind of one of their epic games for this in Cam Miller, who was from Solon and should have been in Iowa be their quarterback for a few years. He outdueled him, but he fought through a torn labrum that was repaired. I've seen him throw, so he's okay.
He just looked really rusty, his footwork and.
Yeah.
But that's another thing that bothers me, because we were told, Iowa gets him, everybody's all fired up. I can't sleep at night. I'm so excited. They finally got the guy. And then what was it? I don't know. A couple weeks later, we find out, well, he's going to have surgery on his shoulder. Oh, but that's okay. He'll be fine. He's got plenty of time to get ready to go. Were we misled? Did he have enough time to be ready to go week 1?
Well, nobody came to me and said, hey, Scott, should we get Mark Gronowski? I mean, they just went and did it, so I don't know about being misled. We didn't know the extent of the injury. That is correct. But
we as in the public. Like we don't know what the program knew.
Yeah.
Right?
But they investigated it thoroughly.
Okay, so they had a pretty good idea what they were getting.
His options were Miami offered him close to $3 million. And
so Miami was going to go that route before the Carson Beck route?
Yes.
Wow.
There was the NFL, which with his injury, when he looked into it, he can't go through the throwing drills and everything, and so nobody's going to draft him. So he knew that. He knew college was going to be the opportunity. So he comes to Iowa. Iowa obviously has among the best hospitals in the world. He's got it taken care of. I've seen him throw. I'm standing right next to him throwing. He looks good throwing the football. Spencer had a gift of an arm, wasn't very accurate, but he was
accurate at that Manning passing academy.
78-yard pass.
Have you ever heard of anybody going to the Manning passing? But that guy really looks like crap.
Crap at the Manning passing
Why did they
academy.
invite that guy?
He stands no chance this year.
The Mannings just invite everybody to that. I'm just kidding. But I think we all kind of land at the same spot. It's a wait and see thing with him, right?
Well, you know what? It's wait to see this weekend.
I know, but you just can't take from an Iowa State standpoint. You're foolish to just look at that kid and be like, "Oh, it's over." Like he's terrible. Yeah. It's the next Deacon Hill. Like that's not the
from
case.
An Iowa State standpoint, you're looking at this as a one-game thing, and I think Iowa can win the game. So I think you're right.
Of course they can.
But from an Iowa perspective, I'm more worried about the season as a whole. Like after that performance, they've got to play 3 playoff teams at home. Indiana, Penn State, Oregon. They have to go to USC. They have to go to Nebraska. I mean, let me do a what if, Scott.
Oh boy, here we go. You're taking us down a deep road here. These people want to be cheered up on a Friday. My God.
I'm sorry.
Trying
what if they win the game?
Fill this up. They might play well.
What if Iowa?
Welcome to my life. Okay.
It's like sometimes with Iowa, it's like,
Look,
we're looking for ways why they're going to lose.
I'm a glass half empty kind of guy, as you can see right
Speaking
here
of
with
that,
my
Hassel could use
Easy
another.
Eddie. And yes, the commenters are wondering
They want
if
to know
any of us
what we're
are
drinking.
having the Easy Eddie. That I've got the Easy Eddie. What if Iowa loses this game and Mark Gronowski does not look good? You kind of hinted at it earlier. Is there going to be a quarterback controversy this early in the season?
Oh my God, we're already going there?
I think he's going to say yes.
Oh, of course. If he plays poorly, then people are going to say it's time to turn the page because you got to save the season at this point if he plays poorly. So if he's 7 of 15 with, let's say, 2 interceptions and a fumble. Yeah. But then I'm going down a Deacon Hill path, and we don't want to go there, because we already lived through that experience. But I'll counter this. All right, what if he's 14 of 21 for 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown?
Then I'm back. I'm on your 10-2 bandwagon again.
So this is, he didn't have spring football, and he's super amped. There are no character issues with him like there are with Cade McNamara,
he seems like a legitimate leader of men.
He is, and he's somebody that, last year when they played Incarnate Word.
What are you laughing at?
How do you know that?
He is. Ask Scott.
Well, it depends on what happens tomorrow and how much of a leader
I agree,
he is,
though.
but
We pegged that from the beginning with the McNamara thing. When we were watching the clips, we're like, we don't like when he was doing that. I dare you to tell us we're going to be the worst offense in college. That's a bad look, man. You don't want your quarterback doing that.
I don't understand how he was voted captain as well on some.
I don't know anything about these character issues, but that was a bad look for the quarterback. This Gronowski feels like he's got a hold on the thing.
Last year against Incarnate Word in the playoffs, it's 16 degrees. He doesn't wear sleeves. And
ooh, he's a man's man.
But after the game, he was asked about it. He's like, hey, these guys are out there killing it for me. I'm going to kill it for them. And all of his linemen were just like, man, we love this guy. He's one of us. This year he takes his linemen on a trip. They're going to Lake of the Ozarks and hang out. He is a dude's dude.
Could have stayed at my
Going
dad's
to your
condo.
place? Tony says...
My dad would have just let them fend for themselves.
Tony says on X that he's rewatching North Dakota State versus South Dakota State. Mark will be just fine.
Well, that's good to know
in that game.
That's good to know that Tony's doing the scout the day before the biggest game of the year.
Hey, shout out to Ryan on YouTube. Ryan has gifted us $10. He wants us to get beers for 2 Hawkeye fans.
That guy's front and center right there.
Yeah, we got the Muscatoon. The Muscatoon couple. They got
you gotta
us
go
a
with
beer.
my B-Town River Rats over there.
So we'll pick up a couple beers, Ryan. Thank you so much for that. We are at Big Grove Brewery. Scott, which one is your favorite? Because you've hit a bunch of them, haven't you?
I love the OG Solon, which is closer to my house in North Liberty. But this is the first time I've been here, so this place is
pretty cool, isn't it?
Fantastic.
So we're at the downtown Des Moines Big Grove Brewery. This was vacant when I worked here. It's been 13 years now, but our station's just right across the street, basically, and this was nothing. It was a vacant old car lot, and now it's turned into this incredible place.
I didn't even know that until you told me that.
Yeah, the Crescent Chevrolet or something like that. This is the official game watch for Iowa football games all season long at this location and all the others. How many different locations are there in Iowa, Scott?
There are 4. You've got one in Cedar Rapids, South Iowa City, which is terrific. I love that place. Solon, which I call the OG Big Grove. And that one, go there for their tenderloins. They're outstanding.
Is it one of those tenderloins that's like the size of my thigh?
I don't know how big your thighs are. I'm not going to look, but I will say that it dwarfs the plate.
That's an Iowa tenderloin right there. And this place, if you come for an Iowa game, like if you come tomorrow, they have the sound up. It's one of my biggest pet peeves.
It's the worst
with sports bars. You go there, you want to watch a big game, and you don't have the sound. This place cranks the sound here at Big Grove Brewery. We also had Alex Kaburski here from the Kaburski brothers. I believe he walked out on us.
Yeah, he was pissed off about.
I was talking. I was
talking
doing
about the Iowa quarterbacks.
Full Iowa stuff.
Yeah.
The Kaburskis have done a great job with your yard. I was complimenting you this morning on the landscaping that they've done.
Yeah.
It's
like that field turf up at Jack Trice Stadium. Is that's what my yard.
There's nothing
looks
better
like.
than that, and it does. If you want your yard looking as good as that grass,
God bless you.
check out
Thank you.
the Kaburski Brothers Lawn Care. Wait, did you guys?
I think he's coming back.
Okay, good.
He's only got 2 hands.
Can I try this one? What is this one?
That's the Sherman Hill Champagne. It's their lightest offering.
So what I've noticed from Chris, that's really good. So Chris has changed quite a bit over the last couple of years. We've been working together
3 years.
Bi-weekly, twice a week for the last 3 years. And I don't know what this tea really does, but
I took my injection
I swear to
today,
God,
Scott.
It has shrunk his stomach too, because we go out to eat and he's like hardly eating that much. I feel like just a total fat ass.
But then,
yeah, but then you're out here, you're drinking light beer. You got the Easy Eddie here on tap. You got the Iron Man.
I kind of just went away from like craft beer in general about 2 years ago, and it's not craft beer, but in like the heavy stuff, I like the lighter stuff.
Well, good for you,
yeah.
Chris.
I like the when the fall hits, I'll do this stuff.
The Oktoberfest.
Yes,
Gotcha.
I will do that stuff.
It's fall, man.
I love
Feel this
stouts.
weather.
I love stouts. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this.
Oh my God, is that
Look
an
at
old
this.
fashioned? Oh hell yeah!
I'm telling you.
Label. Thank you.
You can crap on light beer. The Sherman Hill Champagne at Big Grove is one of the best beers you will ever have.
This is just what I needed.
Yeah, cheers, everybody. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate you all very much.
Thank you so much, everybody. We're not done yet. Don't think we're wrapping up, but we are very appreciative of everybody coming out. It's been a great day. And look, if anybody's up in Ames tomorrow, whether you're an Iowa or an Iowa State fan, join us at Sweet Caroline's after the game for our Instant Iowa show with Andrew Downs.
Boy, that'll be a treat. Are you sure?
I was told by Liebel.
Do we have security?
John Liebel is the guy who kind of glues us together
the
at
reason
Iowa
we're all
everywhere.
here. Yeah, absolutely.
And he he suggested maybe some like a security guard or two that we should have.
Oh, wow.
I do worry if Iowa wins the game. Because I know Iowa State fans are very poor sports.
It'll be way more dangerous if Iowa State loses.
Didn't Iowa?
They wanted to do it from my camper, and I was like, absolutely not.
Didn't was it
no chance?
Was it the Iowa State fans that were throwing beer at like a pregnant woman at a game?
That was the Iowa fans. That was the Barstool lady, and they went on a rampage against Iowa for like. You have terrible fans.
What happened to you the last
kidding.
time you were at Kinnick Stadium?
Sir.
Tell that story about what happened to you at Kinnick Stadium the last time you went.
I was doing a pregame
Williams
show.
won't go back to Kinnick.
I haven't been back to Kinnick in like 8 years. The last year I was there was the Jake Knott interception.
You're shitting
8
me.
years.
That
You're
was
talking about
2012. That was 2012, wasn't it?
2012.
All right,
That was the last Iowa State-Iowa game I covered.
For what it's worth, I have a great relationship with the University of Iowa. I love all the people there.
Yeah.
My daughter has been we've used the children's hospital. They're magnificent.
Yeah.
People in the athletic department treat me wonderfully. I got smoked in the back of the head with a Milwaukee's best with a guy yelling homophobic slurs
You
at
know
me.
what? You know what?
As I was walking into the
That's
stadium.
not indicative of Iowa City.
Yeah, listen.
They're probably
Like
from
hell
your
it isn't.
hometown.
That guy would do that. I'm just kidding.
No. See that would never happen at Jack Trice.
No.
Because they don't sell alcohol in the stadium.
This is what. Yeah, we don't drink in Ames. It's a dry county.
Everybody has to leave
nobody-
at halftime to go drink.
Yeah, no, we don't drink there. No, I love. I've been to so many games in Iowa City with my uncle over the years. I mean, for 18 years we had season tickets. I mean, up until a few years ago, I had probably been to more games in Kinnick than I had Jack Trice just as a fan growing up. So I have a lot of respect for it. It's just the more visible you get, it's hopefully nobody throws a Milwaukee's best at the back of your head tomorrow. I don't think you will have that. You're pretty well liked. Iowa State fans kind of like you.
Iowa State fans like me more than Iowa fans do.
Yeah, I've noticed that over the years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Iowa fans think that I'm a fake Iowa fan,
Which you're not. Like you're just like the most real Iowa fan I know.
I'm a real man. That's what I am. I'm a real man and a real fan. Hey, we gave our predictions earlier on Two Guys over at Eggs and Jam. I have Iowa State. I think this is the biggest advantage Iowa State has had over Iowa in memory in this game. Just as far as the whole team, in my opinion, being better than Iowa's whole team. I have Iowa State winning by 7, 24-17. You have Iowa State winning by
It was
4,
24-20 is what I went.
Okay, you have covering 24-20. Scott, you had Iowa at 10-2 before the season. I'm guessing that included a win over Iowa State.
It did.
What is your prediction now as we go within 18 hours or so until this game kicks off?
The other day,
No pressure.
The other day was I said it was a coin flip, and it still is, because I can analyze this 15 different ways and come out with 15 different outcomes. I have Iowa covering. I'm just not sure who's going to kick the last field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
And
That's how all these games go.
You know, when I was with Chad the other day on the Legends and Listeners, I picked Iowa State 24-23. I'm not going to change from that. That doesn't mean that I don't think Iowa can win, because I think they have a better than a puncher's chance of winning. I think that they can run the ball on Iowa State. And if they do that and they grind clock and they score points off those drives, it can flip the other way to where then the pressure's on Iowa State. Last year, we're talking about the same type of scenario, that Iowa is the better team, that Iowa State has all these injuries. Iowa State can't go into Kinnick and win. And Iowa's up 13-0 at halftime. Mm-hmm. And Iowa State made big plays, and Iowa had incredible defensive breakdowns that allowed those big plays. When you talk about, safeties on a move.
This is a big game for Wampa. I think this is like a statement game for Wampa.
Absolutely. He's a Central Iowa kid.
5-star.
He gave up the 75-yard touchdown
junior
pass.
now?
He's a senior.
He's a senior.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is it.
Last year, I give a little bit of shade in just one area to Phil Parker for this, because I don't know that anybody knew that Jalen Noel was that good, and Sebastian Castro wasn't as good as he was supposed to be. But that pass, that 28-yard pass up the sideline, you need to have better coverage than that. So all I'm saying is I think this could go either way. And the one statistic that stands out to me more than any other with this series is in the last 11 games, the winning team is 8-0-3 with the turnover margin. So if you lose the turnover margin, you're dead in the water in this game. And so I'm sticking with Iowa State by 1 point at home, but I'm really struggling with this one.
You know what's? We're all over the total.
Or right on it, because it's 41, right?
Yes.
And I have it right at 41.
Okay,
24-17
so we're all on it
Iowa
or
State.
over. 17 of the last 20
But we know that
games have gone under.
Iowa is going to try to shrink the game.
Yes.
I'd be stunned if they didn't. We did a little survey of the fans earlier, and it's clear that there's way more Iowa fans here than Iowa State fans.
Look at this kid.
But
this kid has a broken wrist, sitting in the front row.
He's ready to throw that drink at you.
Iowa State fan
Darn
here
right
in the front
he is.
row, little man. Thanks for joining us today. I would like to know, though, Iowa fans out there, I'd like to hear from you. Any of you think that Iowa State is going to win this game? No!
They're not going to pick
That
them.
one
Yeah, I
guy
didn't
said
think
They
that.
wouldn't stoop that low.
Okay, let me do it this way. Who has Iowa winning the game tomorrow? Who has Iowa?
That guy didn't cheer. He's a Hawk fan. He didn't cheer. I watched him.
He doesn't believe in Iowa. Who has
Oh.
Iowa State winning the game tomorrow?
Oh, he says he's with Scott.
That's
All right.
that's tough because there's way more Iowa fans here than Iowa State fans.
No, there's not.
What?
Yeah.
Do you have eyeballs?
I'm like the Iraq guy.
Iraq?
Yeah.
What?
It's Iraq.
Yeah, whatever. Where he said that they haven't invaded. What was that guy? He was like a big meme for a while.
Are you talking about Saddam Hussein?
No, the prime minister guy or whatever.
Yeah, I
you know what I'm talking about?
I know you're talking about, yeah.
Baghdad Bob, I think is what we call it.
Back to
Where he just lied about everything. No, there's definitely more Iowa State fans here. Yes.
Yeah, right.
You know, but another factor that we're not entering this, and I'm not trying to be an apologist or pro Iowa here with this, is a couple of things. This is where Kirk Ferentz is at his best. When there
And
is
that's why I
adversity.
think the spread is as close as it is, and as many people think that this is still a toss-up game because of that.
He's in adverse situations. There have been so many times I'm like, this team's dead in the water, and they come out and they play better. You know they want to win this game in the worst way. He sets the Big Ten wins record in this game if he wins. Do you think he wants to do it against UMass?
No.
He wants to do it against Iowa State. It's a game that matters to him and it matters to the players. So they're going to be ready for this. And for the people who thought that he doesn't really get up for the rivalry, he doesn't really care, that is BS. Because I know for a fact in the 21 game, when they're in the hotel, he's pacing the entire hotel. He can't hardly stand up because he's just racked with nerves. And one of
It's
his
a rivalry.
Exactly. For him, it matters. And I talked to him, and he said there's a lot of pressure with this game. But one of his assistant coaches goes, if you're feeling like this, how do you think they feel?
Mm-hmm.
They've never been in this situation before. And then that relaxed him a little bit. So
Well, yeah, it's their Super Bowl.
let's not get.
I ain't taking the bait.
I'm sitting this one out.
You're already the one that said the game's more important to you this year.
Well, Scott said that, but I agree with it. From a playoff perspective.
Not from an emotional
Scott, we
standpoint.
haven't really hit on this on this show or on Two Guys, but you guys have talked about it a lot and you've written about it a lot. What kind of a deal is it for Kirk Ferentz, whether it's this week, whether it's next week, or a month down the road? Kirk Ferentz, who was hired with little fanfare to replace Hayden Fry in the late 90s, started 1-10 his first year. What kind of a deal is it for him to become the Big Ten's all-time winningest coach?
It is really quite of an achievement because, as you said, he was 1-10 his first year. He was 0-8 in the Big Ten. He was 2-18 overall. 0-4 in his first 4 games against Iowa State. And for him to go in a 4-year span from 0-8 to 8-0 in the Big Ten, and to be one of the most consistent winning programs in college football, over the last 10 years, Iowa's 11th in Power 4 conferences in victories. That gets overlooked. The fact that they've had, 4 or 5 10-win seasons over that period. That matters. He's been really good, really consistent. Since 2015, there have only been 5 programs in a full season, because the Big Ten had an abbreviated season in 20, that have won at least 8 games in every year. And it's Alabama, it's Notre Dame, it's Ohio State, and I want to say Georgia is the other one.
And look who he's done
Clemson,
it with.
Maybe.
He's done it with Deacon Hill and Spencer Petras and Brendan Sullivan and Cade McNamara.
He's squeezed a lot, and he deserves some of the shade with Brian. I'm not going to deny that.
And lack of quarterback development.
Exactly.
I think those are the 2
and
big
wide
ones.
receiver attrition. But I also think that when you look at the development and the players that he gets and the way that he turns them out, I mean, they had 29 guys on active NFL rosters. That's incredible for this program.
How does that compare to the rest of the country, the 29 on active?
They're in the top, I don't have the final numbers right now, but that's in the top 12 or 13.
Wow.
So you're talking about, you're in rare air, LSU, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. So Kirk has had a remarkable career. He was not going to get the acclaim, and there's a debate about that. He's not as good as Woody Hayes or Bo Schembechler because he didn't win national titles. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can accept that, but I don't think you can deny how great he is.
He also wasn't at Michigan or Ohio State.
To go from 2-18 to the all-time winningest Big Ten coach is incredible, and of course he wants this trajectory to end, or at least this part of the journey to end, with your in-state rival winning there in a game that matters. Because next week they're going to beat UMass by whatever point, name the score, and they're not going to carry him off in the field for that. They might do that in Jack trials.
I would also add, one of the things that Kirk's detractors, mainly from my side of the rivalry, will say is the Big Ten West thing, right? Mm-hmm. Which is fair to a point.
Oh yeah, I've been pretty open about that.
But Kirk also developed a style and a culture at Iowa where he was doing what he was doing so much better than everybody else. Mm-hmm. And that's what made them so difficult.
He was beating all those teams in his division at the same game.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that deserves credit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when you look at, the Big Ten West has 2 acts. The first 4 or 5 years when Wisconsin was really good, and even Northwestern was really good. And
forgot about that. That seems like an eternity ago.
I know.
But yeah.
I mean, Wisconsin, this is the thing you worry about when Kirk Ferentz does retire. Don't surrender your identity. Otherwise, you might be Wisconsin.
Right.
But when you look at those teams, they're beating 10-win teams. In 15, Wisconsin and Northwestern both won 10 games, and they beat them. So they did win some big games. Pitt was, second in its division that year in the ACC. So they've won some big games through that. But the second half, the last, really since COVID, the Big Ten West really faded, whereas Michigan became really good. I mean, because they were teetering on average. And the reason why they created the West was, at that point, Brady Hoke was a bad coach for Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan sucked.
Penn State had sanctions. And so and Wisconsin was elite. Mm-hmm. So they thought, okay, well, Ohio State's on one side. Michigan State wanted to go to the West because they thought that they wanted to get, first of all, they want to be with Northwestern because they loved recruiting Chicago, but they also thought Michigan State, Wisconsin, Iowa, that's a pretty good, Nebraska at the time. That's a pretty good combination of teams. But they said, no, we're not sure. We don't want Ohio State to get left by itself, especially if Penn State's not any good. So that's kind of why Michigan State ended up in the East and Purdue went to the West. It's fair to criticize them, but I think sometimes it goes a little too far.
Before we wrap up, since we're on the subject of Kirk Ferentz, let's flip the script, because I've heard you say you believe Matt Campbell is not only the greatest football coach of all time, which at Iowa State, which is a pretty, I think that's pretty easy to say.
I thought that's where you're going to stop.
Scott believes he's already the greatest Iowa State coach of all time. Why?
I think, first of all, when you look at the the trajectories of the programs. I mean, you compare it with men's basketball. Men's basketball is at a higher plane. They haven't gotten to the Final Four. They've had great coaches. Johnny Orr was awesome. He was the Hayden Fry of Iowa State, because he had just a great personality. They had really good teams. You look at Tim Floyd, Larry Eustace almost got there. If it wasn't for the officiating in Auburn Hills, maybe he would have gotten there. Otts, Hoiberg, they're all really good coaches. Who's the best one? Yeah. You look at Iowa State's history, we all know it. I'm not going to recite it. But for Matt to go in to a place that's had, one winning Big 12 season in 20 years, and now every year they're competitive for the championship?
That's what they had. They had one winning Big 12 season over a 20-year stretch?
Yes. And
now you just expect it every single. If they didn't have a winning record in the Big 12, and now I know the Big 12's changed, but if they didn't have that, that would be an extremely disappointing season.
I would even, without all the data to back it up, I mean, I've done this for 20 years now. The amount, early on, you didn't go into every Saturday thinking you had a chance to win. Mm-hmm. Half of them you thought you had no shot at this.
Right.
You're just there to do your job. Mm-hmm. Literally every game Iowa State not only has a chance to win, but now, I mean, you look at the last 5 years, you're favored in most of them. Mm-hmm. Right? I think right now they would be favored in every game, maybe except at TCU, the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And that was the case last year. To me, that says more than anything. It's just, even before Texas and Oklahoma left, you were beating them. You were putting a scare into Oklahoma every time you went to Norman. Mm-hmm. That's Matt's biggest legacy to me without all the data.
I was looking up some numbers the other day. Since 2017, Iowa State has the second most wins in the Big 12, behind Oklahoma.
Teams that are still in the Big 12?
And number one, when you throw everybody, the teams aren't there. Oklahoma's number one with 47 wins. Iowa State now with 44, but 43 going into this season.
Okay.
That's pretty remarkable, considering where you were to where Iowa State is now. That shows great coaching. I think the development of the program, I look at Matt and at Kirk, that they do things their way. It's different, but their results and the way that they develop is the same.
They are so similar to me.
The process. I mean, there's some times when, you look, Iowa State has gotten screwed by the officials in a certain game, and that just seems to engulf the program and take over the mindset. Matt doesn't accept that. He just says, look, we're moving on. Now he may be mad, and he's, I think he looks kind of like, without the dreads, like Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine, and he really went off in Dublin like that. But that's fair game on the sidelines. But I think the way that he's developed this program, the way anybody who can take a developmental program like Iowa State and do it with different casts of characters in different eras, and I consider a 3-year era, when you can, you have your Brock Purdy, you have your Breece Hall, you stayed, and now you have Rocco Beck. And before that, you had Lazard. And then, to me, the biggest win of them all, and please correct me, Chris, if you believe otherwise, was going to Oklahoma in 17.
Kyle
Kent. Your quarterback's gone.
Thinking. Yeah.
And you go to Oklahoma.
30-point underdog.
Incredible.
And win that game.
That's a coaching win.
I actually thought the week after, when they won at Texas Tech, was just as impressive too, because the Oklahoma
win, it wasn't
win,
a fluke.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really thought that was the real deal.
Yeah.
It was you got this third-string quarterback.
Yeah.
You had some key interceptions. And then they did that, and then they beat TCU 3 weeks later at home, and that was I don't remember the score, but it was in the teens. It was a cold fall day, and they just lined up and beat Gary Patterson.
That was when I felt that Iowa State arrived as a legitimate college football program, was when they came back and beat TCU.
Because they were
they had beaten
top
Oklahoma.
5, weren't they? TCU, or top 10 for sure.
It was it was a huge game, and it was a late afternoon game, and I felt at that point they arrived. Matt Campbell arrived, and he continues to ascend. I mean, this is maybe he ends up having a career like Kirk Ferentz. Maybe he's the guy that's at Iowa State for 25 years.
It very well could happen, and I think not only winning that game, but I think the other part of it is And this is what makes this rivalry that we're going to see tomorrow so healthy, is that they were able to weather a tough loss against Iowa that year. It was 44-41 in overtime, and they got off the mat. And they went to Oklahoma and won, and they beat TCU. And I think they beat, maybe it was West Virginia at home. Were they really good that year?
Yeah, they were in the top 5.
Yeah.
That Greer kid was the quarterback. Yep.
To be
Will Greer.
Yeah,
and
he was their quarterback.
Beat the daylights out of them. So, and then it came Brocktober. And you're winning all these great games in October after that. That, to me, is why this rivalry is ascended. It's why Iowa State is ascended as a program. And the best part of this is we're not talking about this being Iowa State season one way or the other. We're not talking about it being Iowa season, what we never really have. But with Iowa State in particular, it's not going to make or break their season because they're good enough to worry about the rest of it. If they lose to a good team, they lose to a good team. Mm-hmm. But guess what? They're going to go beat other teams. They're going to, BYU, Arizona State, Colorado, all those other teams. And they beat Kansas State, which I'm thrilled is actually considered a rivalry. Hopefully they get the Farmageddon thing as a real thing. But
good luck.
Yeah. What's the
They're
deal
about
with
to
that?
cut our internet right now by
My God,
talking
Williams,
about
talk
that.
to Jamie. Jesus.
What's the deal?
I got nothing.
Why not embrace it?
I got nothing.
It's
unbelievable.
It's organic. It's it's like
I'll
wow,
embrace it.
How did this?
It's almost as crazy as not getting rid of the I-State logo at Iowa State. It's almost. I mean, I'm looking around at all these people. The young man here has a awesome walking sigh with the Cyclone
The walking
script on
sigh
it.
is so cool.
Nobody's wearing the I-State logo here. The Iowa State fans. Nobody. Scott, we're going to have to cut you loose. We're going to have
You got to get up to the next show.
we continue this. I would like to know if anybody is able to hit all 4 shows today, starting at
Has anybody been at all 3?
Anybody?
There we go. It's my guy in the back.
You've been. Are you going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings? Oh, he's not going to hit Buffalo. Oh.
Boo.
No, he hit the trifecta, but not the, what is it, the quad something.
It's all right. Batting 750 is
I would
pretty
love
good,
to
buddy.
know if anybody hits the quad today. Because, Scott, tell us what's coming up at, you guys going live at 6:30 tonight. Wait.
6:30.
Wait, what time is it? 5:14? You
5:14.
got to hurry. We've got to get your ass out of here. What's coming up on the 6:30 show?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings with Andrew Downs and Jake Brend, and we're going to break this game down a little bit more. I don't know what angles you guys haven't touched that we'll touch, but I look forward to it.
You're diving right in with like Hassel and I are homers, but these two guys, I mean, they are.
Oh, no, we're not homers compared to.
That's what I'm saying.
Downs
these
and
guys
Bren?
are going to take
Oh
it to
my
a whole
God.
other level.
You've never seen a Hawkeye apologist until you've done a show with Andrew Downs. So we're looking forward to that. 6:30 from the Buffalo Wild Wings here in Des Moines.
That is correct.
Okay, so if you're listening now live or if you're here, please feel free to join them over there. I'm sure it'll be a fun night tonight. We've got an NFL game tonight from Brazil.
So weird.
Chiefs Chargers.
But that makes sense why there's all garbage college games tonight.
Yeah.
College is afraid of the NFL,
It
and I don't like
sucks,
it.
man.
Yeah, I don't like it. I wish they would.
And
I wish they would
sucks,
lean
like,
into.
why does the NFL we just leave?
I don't care what the NFL does. I just wish college would say, so what? We'll do our games too.
The thing is, with the NFL is like when you were younger, like we're college-age guys, and your buddy was super good-looking, and you knew it. And then you started to talk to a girl, and then he'd go over and hit on her, and then all of a sudden take off. And you're like, what? Dude, you knew,
Yeah. So I was the NFL in that instance. I used to always
I'm
go
sure
and
you did.
swoop in.
Where? Were you at Iowa doing that?
No, I
St.
didn't
Ambrose.
I couldn't get into Iowa.
That's
so
why
I
you went to St. Ambrose.
Oh, you were,
Didn't have any
you were
competition.
hanging out at Arsenal Courts?
Yeah, I
So
was
these-
living with the priests.
All these Catholic kids. And
Yeah,
I was,
well, I'm there too,
I had to
but-
share a bathroom with a priest, and
Oh, let's stop.
how did you
there.
bring
Time
girls
out.
home?
I didn't. Luckily, I was already dating
Luckily.
the woman that became my wife.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Who went to College,
Yeah.
which was a great school in Cedar Rapids.
The Hawks, right? The Cohawks.
Cohawks, yeah.
The Cohawks.
Yeah.
What's
and-
St. Ambrose? The
The Fighting Bees.
Bees.
It's a bee with boxing gloves. It's a cool logo. Thank you for everybody coming out here for the Big Grove Big Game Special.
Thank
So
you.
great to see all
Appreciate
of you.
y'all.
So excited for the game. Thank you for everybody listening wherever you're at. I just hope that I know this is a difficult game, but next week you guys are in trouble in Jonesboro. You know that, don't you?
Man, I
You're
don't even
in
want to
big
think about
trouble.
that.
Noah
That's
Jansen.
already-
Noah Jansen wants me to go to Jonesboro in the comments.
You can't go there. It's a dry county.
Oh no.
It's like going to Provo. I'm serious.
Why go?
Why do we keep going to these teams that are
No. Yeah. What
Iowa
good
State
is
shouldn't
it?
be playing a game in Jonesboro?
What are you guys doing?
Absolutely. That's stupid. I'm sorry. You know. And
Buy your way out of it.
Scott, was the
Yes.
last time Iowa did something like this when they went to Miami, Ohio
Yeah.
in 03?
Yeah. 03.
Was
02, something
Roethlisberger
like
the quarterback?
Yeah. Or Akron or something.
I was at the
like
game
that.
in Kinnick when he went there, whatever year that was.
Yeah.
No, it was,
That was
Two?
02, I think.
Oh, two.
yeah, and at that point I was covering the Chiefs. So I remember when they played like maybe it was Akron or Miami of Ohio or something. I was covering the Chiefs Browns when Dwayne Rudd threw his helmet.
Oh, God. Jeez.
Down the Dwayne was the headline in the Akron.
Oh,
You were talking
man.
early Ferentz years, and a memory popped up. I was at that John Butcher Michigan State game.
Butcher's the future.
The Charles
That's
Rogers, they
fascinating.
shut him down. He had like
Yeah.
one catch.
Didn't John Butcher just beat the shit out of somebody and get arrested or something?
I hope not.
I think Sam Aiello beat him.
If he didn't,
Oh, Sam Aiello beat. Okay,
Beat
okay.
him up.
All right,
Sorry,
that
John.
was allegedly.
Sorry,
John Butcher
This
didn't
is
do
all
anything
alleged.
like that.
I knew he got in a fight. I did. Okay, sorry, buddy. Aiden, thank you
can't
so
just
much
say
for. I
anything
know
that comes to your
Well,
head.
it's all allegedly.
Yeah.
Future's the future was the hashtag before hashtags. Thanks to Matt Van Winkle, who wished he could be here and is.
Yeah, he's killing him not being here.
Yeah, he's burning flags up in Bondurant.
So protesting somewhere.
Looking forward to Doc with Andrew Downs and Jake Brend coming up at 6:30 Central Time tonight. Thank you for following us here at Iowa Everywhere. Like and subscribe, please. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. It really helps. And we'll talk to you after the game tomorrow. What are you laughing at?
Well, all these people say I'm hammered. It's because I'm looking down at my screen and I have this hat, and it makes me look like I'm shutting my eyes.
It's all that pre-workout creatine
I
testosterone
swear I'm not.
you're
I'm fine,
taking.
everybody.
It's mixing with the alcohol, and
It's these damn lights that you made us bring in.
Jesus Christ, Williams. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching and listening. We will see you after the Iowa win tomorrow in the Cy-Hawk game.